afternoon, good morning, good evening, everybody. It is Monday, June 29th, and you know what that means. It is time for the High Risk Wrestling Recap. I am your host, Jeremy Pierce. You know you can check out the socials, Charismatic Creations on Facebook and YouTube, Charismatic_Creations52 on Instagram, and of course the 215 on Twitter. And without further ado, let's get into the news. Ray Phoenix is the current AAA Cruiserweight champion, and it looks like he will be defending that title on both SmackDown, where he's a member of the roster, and both AAA. And apparently they will be treating his reign, hopefully, like his brother Penta. We'll see what that does for him. The NWA has landed a streaming deal with Tubi. I believe this is their second streaming deal. The official press release is coming, but they will now be on Tubi. Power is also available on Comments. They were previously on YouTube and the CW app. That's good news for them. Tony Khan was doing an interview, and he was asked about potentially buying TNA for what price, and they were like $40 million. He was like, nah, TNA's not worth that. But if there was a reasonable price, he could potentially buy it, and you really only want it for the tape library at this point. He doesn't need to own everything. And some sad news: the professional wrestling world lost Joe Doring. He was a star of Maple Leaf. He was a star of TNA. He touched a lot of folks. He was sick, went into hospice very, very recently, and ultimately lost his fight. Our thoughts and prayers go out to Mr. Doring and his family. Scorpio Sky's contract will be expiring sooner than you think. Looks like his deal is up in another few months. He's really had a huge up and down career in AEW. He was seen as the future of the company, TNT champion. His injuries were the biggest thing that ultimately harmed him. It looks like WWE will be signing Zilla Fatu, another member of the Bloodline family tree. He is a large part of GCW, and it's pretty much been expected for a long time that he would be signing with the WWE. Speaking of GCW, there's talks of them potentially moving their shows to My AEW. There was a little bit of a falling out earlier with these two companies, but that's water under the bridge. This is just good news for MyAEW, and it's looking more and more likely that MyAEW will become like the home for a lot of independent promotions to show their shows. It's going to be really, really good. TNA has announced two future Hall of Famers for the TNA Hall of Fame. One is Conan, who was a big part of TNA, especially with LAX. It's very much well deserved. And of course, the other is none other than the amazing Red, the TNA X Division legend himself. This is absolutely great. Speaking of TNA, we're sticking with them. They announced that Destination X will be returning. It's been gone for 9 years. The date for it is Sunday, November 15th at the Expo Center in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. Destination X was like the premier X Division event. It's good to have it back. Still with TNA, Apollo Crews. Well, the artist formerly known as Apollo Crews went back to his independent name, Uhaa Nation, made his debut to TNA and Slammiversary, answering the open challenge for the International Championship. And sticking with TNA, the Knockouts division will be getting a brand new championship. They will be getting a television title that will be defended strictly on TV. There will be a 16-woman tournament to crown the first ever champion. Mind you, they do not have 16 women on their roster. And a New Japan star is expected to sign with the WWE. That would be none other than Hiromu Takahashi. Looks like he's on his way there. It looks like he's going to start in NXT. He left New Japan this past year on the injury side of things. It looks like Deonna Purrazzo got hurt at the recent set of Ring of Honor taping. She was seen in a cast over her foot boot. Piper Niven has shared her x-ray update after her neck surgery. She's 6 weeks post-surgery. Went for a checkup today. Everything is fusing nicely. Adriana Rizzo has been cleared for her in-ring return after her ACL injury, so we shall see what they do with her, seeing as how the biggest part of her career in NXT is all gone. The Tony D'Angelo family is all separated, and Willow Nightingale looks like she's on her way back. We've already got 2 return promos for her. This is all good news, but that is the news, injuries, and we shall be right back with the weekend review. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the week in review. You know how we do. We start off with Monday Night Raw. This was the go-home show for King and Queen of the Ring. This show gets a fist. We opened up with Oba saying that he's destined to win King of the Ring. Jay interrupts him, saying, yo, you shouldn't be looking past me. People always kill me out, and I'll silence the doubters. And Opa's like, look, bro, I don't really care. Just don't miss your shot. And then tell your cousin I'm coming for you, coming for him. LA Knight accused Pierce of protecting the bloodline, and Pierce said that Jacob Fatu was fine for last week's attack. Jimmy hit Knight with a chair from behind and mocked him, and Pierce booked Knight versus Jimmy, which led us into the tag title match with Bree and Paige putting the titles on the line against Lyra and Bayley. And this match was simply a means to an end. Bayley and Lyra really struggled with their cohesion early. Bree and Paige pretty much had this match in the bag, and Paige won with the rampage on Lyra after the match. Bayley was encouraging Lyra, who snapped, attacked Bayley, and officials had to separate them. Looks like Lyra broke under the pressure of constantly losing. We see her backstage, and she just wasn't talking to anyone. Chad Gable was in the ring, and he wanted to apologize to Maxine, Tozawa, and Otis, and he did, but Maxine rejected it, and she rejected his apology and said Gable still only cares about himself. He's doing this for him. Tozawa followed her out, and Otis hesitated but left too. I think this is how Maxine ends up joining the Vision. Ray told Dragon Lee to teach Ethan Page some respect, which led us into their match, which of course Ethan Page won, because why would Dragon Lee actually win a match? Ethan Page used a low blow behind the ref's back and then hit the Egoplex for the win. Theory said they were building the future, and Logan was healing faster than before. Breaker said they'll rip Seth's head at Night of Champions. Io celebrated reaching the Queen of the Ring finals. Liv interrupted and said she was more talented, blah, blah, blah. Io snapped and attacked Liv, and Liv retreated. Jimmy told Jay to focus on King of the Ring while he'll deal with LA Knight. Jay asked about Solo, and Jacob refused to give any kind of explanation. Fatu warned Solo wouldn't like what happens if he crosses the line. Jimmy took on LA Knight in a solid match. Knight looked confused after Solo arrived and spiked Jimmy behind the ref's back. Knight hit the BFT to get the W. Solo left. Jimmy was stunned. Everybody's stunned. What is Solo doing? The Prophet said they were ready for the tag team titles. Let's see what happens there. Bayley was icing her neck and refused to comment about what went down with Lyra. Raquel limited her loss to Roxanne, and Liv Barzina said that she'd be queen. Liv told Raquel to chase Sol Ruka's IC title. JD appeared disoriented from Danhausen's zap from before. We had an interview with Seth, who said he was one away from ending division. Seth said Breaker was dangerous, but he find a way to defeat him. And he said beating Breaker will let him chase the title that he rightfully never lost. Gable asked Pierce for Penta, and Dom said he deserved Penta first. Gable called Dom a dumbass, and Dom volunteered JD for a match, and that's what we're going to get, ladies and gentlemen. And that takes us to our tag team title match as the Street Profits were challenging the Vision for the World Tag Team Championships. This was fine. It went the distance. It went the full 20 minutes. I mean, everybody in the match is incredibly talented. The ref ejected Logan Paul from ringside, allowing Breaker to regain control of the match with heavy offense. Joe Hendry arrived to chase away Logan Paul. Seth appeared to hit through with Logan's drop brass knuckles, allowing Dawkins to get the power bomb while the sky high. And then Ford hit the frog splash. We got new tag team champions. For Dynamite, this was the Forbidden Door Go Home show. This show gets, I'm gonna give it a fist. It was fine. It was fine. We opened up with the Death Riders and Ospreay. They doing their dance, piping each other up. And then Ospreay fell. It was hilarious. Arena said it was okay. This leads us into Mox, Claudio, and Wheeler Yuta taking on Mistico and a Brodido in a really, really solid, enjoyable tag team match. Dynamite had 8 matches and they kind of just flew right into each other. Claudio and Brody traded heavy strikes. Shafir distracted the ref as Claudio hit Brody with the belt, allowing Mox to score the pinfall on Brody King. So that was very solid. This led us right into the Conglomeration was with Darby, and he said he wasn't ready, but he would do anything for Mark Briscoe. This is the hype in the steel cage match. Then we got Marina Shafir versus Harley Cameron. This was for one of the final spots in the Survival of the Fittest match, and it's been a while, but these two women have come a long way. Harley ultimately got the win as she leveraged, she trapped Marina with the pin and locked her legs in. It was really solid pin. Also, Marina Shafir is supposed to be this real badass. She hasn't won a singles match in like 3 years. We got a Mercedes Mone Maya World hype video. And then we got Will Ospreay taking on LP. I've seen these two do better. It was a fine match, but I've seen these two do much, much better. Ultimately, Ospreay won with the hidden blade, which led us into Swerve Strickland taking on Daniel Garcia. And these two beat the holy hell out of each other. Garcia did everything he could to fight against Swerve, but Swerve ultimately won by hitting the house call, followed by the hidden blade to get the W. Swerve distracted Garcia. Ospreay made the save with a kick to Swerve, but Nana tripped Ospreay, allowing Swerve to hit the house call on him and then beating the hell out of Garcia and dropping him with the Verta Breaker. Ospreay ran him off with a chair. Then we got Don Callis family with MJF. Knight said he wanted a title shot after the cage match, and Okada, well, bitch. Fletcher spoke, but at the end of the day, MJF said he was born with white collar and always will. Callis revealed the shirts with its Okada, Fletcher, Wentz, and MJF told Trent and Rocky to leave. Damn. Jack Perry took on Zack Sabre Jr. I mean, this was a fine match. I don't think it needed to go 13 minutes, but Zack Sabre Jr. dominated early with his mat control. Perry rallied, but ultimately Zack Sabre Jr. captured it with the arms and forced a submission. The Young Bucks immediately showed up, and Perry rolled out, holding his arm, and Sabre stared him down. No TMDK to back him up, which led us into, well, the Young Bucks versus TMDK. This was Bad Dude Tito and Mickey Nichols. Fine match. Didn't go long, 5 minutes. The Young Bucks won with the Melter driver. I forget what it's called now. ZSJ and TMDK attacked the Bucks after the match until Omega ran in, fought them all off, and confronted Zack Sabre Jr. Then we had another Survival of the Fittest qualifying match. Queen Aminata versus Red Velvet. The TV championship was not on the line here. This was really sad. These two women really hit hard and hit fast and hit well. Ultimately, Queen Aminata won with the Queen's Crown headbutt, followed by that running dropkick into the ropes. So she qualifies for Survival of the Fittest. The Bucks said they super kicked the Forbidden Door down, and Cope and Cage were brought in with the Dogs. Ultimately, the Dogs got the upper hand, beating up Cope and Cage, leading into the match at Forbidden Door. And our main event was Konosuke Takeshita putting the International Championship on the line against Ricochet. Ricochet control early with his aerial offense. Takeshita regained momentum with power at ringside, and Takeshita hit a high power bomb for a near fall. He ended up winning with the Raging Fire to retain the championship. After that, we kind of got the parade, the carousel of people coming and hitting their finishers. Briscoe confronted MJF, who beat him down, and Callis interrupted, and it was just a giant fight. Andrade accidentally hit MJF, was actually hit by MJF's ring, and Mark Briscoe dropped MJF with the J Driller. Over on TNA, this was the Slammiversary Go Home show. This show gets a fist. We opened up with the Hardys. They said fate had them rebroken, and they were winning the tag team titles. The Righteous Interrupters said the Hardys were enlightened. The System Interrupters said that all 4 teams are taking food off their table. A brawl broke out. Jeff climbed the ladder just as the System and the Righteous retreated. We were backstage to Order 4, who approached Daria Ray, and she added them to the tag team title match. Our first match of the evening was Mara Sade taking on Ash by Elegance. So it was great to see Ash in the ring. Ash complained about fans calling her a mark and forced and by Elegance to wrestle in her place. Well, there you go. So Sade dominated early, chased him off, but ultimately Mara won by DQ after Elena Black attacked Sade while she was on the top rope. Everybody brawled until Rosemary and Ali ran down to save Sade, and Elegance brand retreated. Eric Young said Ricky Sosa was disrespectful to wrestling. Viral videos mean nothing, and Sosa needed to learn a lesson which Eric Young would teach him at Slammiversary. Manny Lemons took on AJ Francis squash match. AJ hit the down payment for the finish. Elijah then appeared on screen and assaulted AJ, and Elijah said AJ was jealous and a fraud, and he burned the contract. AJ was not happy. Harley Hudson took on Zaya Brookside. It was kind of a warm-up match. Not trying to take shots at Harley Hudson, but Zaya attacked Harley during her entrance. Hudson rallied with arm drags and push-ups on Zaya's back. Zaya regained control with some stomps and submission. She hit the DDT for the pin. Zaya kept attacking Hudson until Lee made the save, and Zaya retreated. We got the injury report, updates on Ash, Mike Santana, and Nick Nemeth, the X Division competitors. The severity levels were noted. We got the World Title Summit, Mike Santana and Nick Nemeth. Santana said the title was bigger than wrestling, and Nick said Santana would learn what it meant to be an international star. Nick said Santana was lucky his father wasn't allowed to see him fail again. Across the line there, Santana punched Nick. Ryan then attacked Santana, allowing Nick to throw Santana's head into the table. Security intervened. We got a medical update on Santana afterwards, and he was questioned before Slammiversary. Moose was in the ring, said payback was coming for Eddie Edwards and the rest of the system. Eddie said Moose and JDC were a cancer holding the system back. Eddie said that he'd end the feud in Boston. JDC said wrestling was making Eddie sick. Alicia said the system was better without JDC, and Alicia dared Moose to spear her. Moose left a return, and then JDC stopped him. All right, see what happens here. We got some highlights for Ricky Sosa versus Eric Young, setting up their match at Slammiversary. Then we had Leon Slater teaming with Casey Navarro, Fabian Eichner to take on Cedric Alexander, Frankie Kazarian, and Mr. Elegance, with the bad guys getting the win. Frankie rode up Slater for the W. Slater had the Swanton 450 on Mr. Elegance, but it wasn't enough. Slater looked frustrated. Cedric smirked and avoided him. All right, let's see what we're doing, because we got the X Division match at Slammiversary. Then we ended it with Nick and Santana. Nick said Santana wouldn't make it to Slammiversary. Nick said he'd be crowned champion. He called out Carlos Silva. Ryan even stumbled out. He was beaten down, and Santana appeared bloody, but had attacked Ryan. Security separated them one more time. It was a fine show. Over on SmackDown, this was the King and Queen of the Ring Go Home show. All right, and what do we start with? We started with Trick and Yachty and everything with the U.S. title. He got married. Him and Lash are now married, and he joked about whooping that trick all night long. Lord. But there's no outrage for him saying this, but there's outrage for what Will Ospreay said. Get the fuck out of here. Ricky interrupted and mocked Trick's life decisions, yada yada yada. Saints punched Yachty and hit Trick with the mic. Alexa said that Charlotte was hurting physically and emotionally, and said that she'd get revenge even if she had the team with Tiffany. Tiffany and Liv bickered off the mic in tension. There we got Tiffany and Liv taking on Michin and not Liv, Tiffany and Bliss. I don't know why it says Liv. Ultimately, Michin and B-Fab won because they are an actual team. B-Fab hit the twisting powerbomb face plant. I gotta remember what this move looks like. Chelsea Green ran out with the candlestick to make the save, but she dropped it and she avoided the heels and embraced Tiffany, and Bliss joined them. All right, whatever's going on, I think I like it. Solo said Roman wouldn't like what happened on Raw. So Tama said Solo's obsession with Roman was dragging him down, and Tama and Tyler said we are done, and the elders told us to leave you. The MFT are no more. Phoenix put the AAA Cruiserweight Championship on the line against Nathan Frazier in a really, really solid match. Phoenix hit the Frog Splash and the Mexican Muscle Buster to retain the championship. They showed respect after the match. The War Raiders, who are now, I believe, the AAA Tag Team Champions, challenged R-Truth and Damian Priest for their titles. Looks like, I don't know if we're doing title for title, but they accepted the challenge. Knight arrived, and he's in the ring. And he said he respected Jimmy, but he got what he deserves. And Knight called Solo to the ring. Solo said his family left him and he hated the bloodline. Solo proposed teaming with LA Knight to destroy the bloodline. Knight said he needed help, but not Solo's help. All right. So no to the partnership. Sami Zayn said he called last week's match down the middle until they pushed him too far, which is very, very true. And he said only Gargano understood him. Johnny's just once again laid out flat. Sami said he would become WWE champion, and Sami walked off, and Johnny did absolutely nothing. Then we had a match that was fine, but no one liked the result, which was Paige defeating JC Jane. And not only that, Henley and Reed attacked Bree, and Paige just rolled up JC, and JC, like, it feels like Toxic Attraction, or is it Fatal Influence? It feels like it's Fatal Influence's momentum is gone. We got more stuff with Miz and Kid and Danhausen, and just a whole bunch of stuff, which led us to a tag match with Matt Cardona teaming up with Danhausen to take on Angel and Berto. And Cardona and Danhausen won. This goes complete opposite of what we saw with Angel and Berto on AAA. Like, I don't get it. Gunther said Cody screwed him twice, and Gunther said he had a message for Cody. Saxton reminded him that Cody had beaten him before. Chelsea Green took on Jade Cargill. Jade easily won that match. Green tried her counters, tried with the roll-ups, but failed. But Jade hit the pump kick and the Jaded to get the W. Jade stomped on Green and took Tiffany and Liv, ran out for the save of Michin, and B-Fab joined the fight, and Jade dropped Tiffany with the Jaded. So Sikoa wanted Royce Keys as a new partner. Solo asked if Keys would help him, and Keys said good luck and left. Kiana James took on Joya, and Joya got the W with that Northern Lights bomb. And so I'm glad we prioritize who is supposed to be number one. But then Blake Monroe finally made her debut. She attacked Joya, her former partner in their faction from New Japan, which WWE will probably never ever mention. But Blake Monroe is officially here. Then we got everything that's going on with the WWE title. Cody was about to speak until Sami interrupted, who apologized for the following week. And Cody said Sami was exhausting and played the victim. Gunther said Sami was a non-factor to win the title. Jay said he tapped Gunther out like a little bitch. Gunther attacked Jay, who came out. Chaos erupted as Oba appeared. Jay super kicked Cody. Gunther clothesline Jay. Sami hit Gunther with the belt, and Cody just dropped Sami at the crossroads and stared at Owen. And that's how the show ended. Over on Collision, this was the go home show for Forbidden Door. My first match of the evening was the Conglomeration putting the Trios Championship on the line against the Ops, and I like this match. It was a good match. It was a fun match. You knew the Conglomeration was always going to win, but I don't want to have the Ops in situations like this. There are certain groups I just don't want to see in this position that you got to build them up, and the Ops are one of them, and Shane Taylor Promotions are the other team. And then after everything that happened with Shane Taylor Promotions, they're just not on Collision anymore. But again, I digress. The Conglomeration are still champions. Ricochet and the Man crossed paths with Jay Lethal, and they decided to work together. Let's see what we got going on. We got the Death Riders, and they were tending to Garcia. Moxley Swerve made himself a target, and Ospreay said the message was received. Garcia told Ospreay to bring it home. Kevin Knight took on Desmond Xavier, putting the X Division, the TNT Championship on the line. I don't know why Desmond Xavier got a title match. This kind of just happens, just random TNT title matches. But it was a fine match. Kevin Knight ultimately won, countering with the Sky Twister. We got a video footage hyping up the Forbidden Door cage match. It's going to be a spectacle. The Triangle Madness were backstage, and they were in the ring, and Thekla bragged about attacking Stardom CEO. Sky Blue says she's showmaker. How violent she really is. Enjoy Your Heart stood there silent. Drew's the ones that sells the Wolf tickets. Thekla said they burned the Forbidden Door down. Chris Jericho took on JD Drake. Jericho got the win. Applying after hitting the walls of Jericho, he hit the code breaker, then dropped him with the Ciampa style knee. Walls of Jericho. Jericho forced Schiavone to say he was better than Ciampa, and Jericho said he wanted to thank Ciampa for beating him. Jericho promised Ciampa wouldn't thank him at Beach Break. The Divine Dominion are ready as Thunder Rosa and Olympia. Thunder Rosa announced Olympia as her tag team partner for Forbidden Door. Dominion mocked Rosa's heritage and face paint, so they would tear them down. Nobody put their hands on each other. Persephone took on Billie Stark. She put her CMLL Women's World Championship on the line. Persephone controlled early with power, and Billie hit a DDT on the apron. Persephone then robbed with suplexes and matrix dodge. Billie hit a neckbreaker. Top rope offense came forth, but ultimately Persephone countered, dropped it with a spear, hit the Razor's Edge, retained her championship. After the match, Shida attacked Persephone with the kendo stick until Stat, Harley, and Aminata confronted Shida, running her off. Hype for the Survival of the Fittest match. Mistico and Speedball took on the Premier Athletes. You knew how this was going to go. Mistico and Speedball won the match. Weren't they like trios champions? Weren't they like the last trio champions like two title bouts ago? Gabe Kidd, got a video for him. He said Forbidden Door is year round for him because he goes back and forth between AEW and New Japan. He said he awaits Shoto Umino. He's at the mercy of the US government, but he promised violence upon his return. Jake Doyle took on Adam Priest. Jake Doyle got the W, hitting the swinging sidewalk slam for the win. We got a recap of everything about Maya World's just trip to the top, going through the Owen Hart tournament. Mercedes was like, your dreams don't win championships. We got a video package for Willow Nightingale, who's working on her comeback, but she was the comeback killer, so how does that work out? But our main event was Hyan and Maya World taking on Athena and Mercedes Mone. Now, history says that Athena and Mercedes should lose. This was a great match. Definitely my favorite match from the entirety of Collision for the day. Ultimately, guess what? Mercedes and Athena won after Athena hit an O-face out of nowhere. This was a fantastic match. After the match, Athena attacked Hyan, where Mercedes was applying a statement maker. Maya hit thrust kicks on both of them, and then hit a springboard moonsault to lay them out, and Athena and Mercedes retreated up the ramp. There we go. Matches of the week. This was a huge weekend of professional wrestling, ladies and gentlemen, so there was a lot. From New Japan Road to G1 Climax, Yuto-Ice versus Taichi. This was a play-in for the G1. From Dynamite, the Death Riders versus Brodido and Mistico. Also from Dynamite, the International Championship match, Konosuke Takeshita versus Ricochet. From Collision, Mercedes Mone and Athena versus Hyan and Maya World. From the Forbidden Door, Kenny Omega versus Zack Sabre Jr., Moxley and Bandido with the Continental Championship on the line. Both, ladies and gentlemen, both Owen Hart finals matches, Mercedes Moné and Maya Bro, which was my match of the evening in their women's final, Ospreay and Swerve in their bloody affair. And of course, I'd be remiss not to mention the tag team steel cage match, also from Forbidden Door. From Night of Champions, Sami Zayn, Cody Rhodes, Gunther for the WWE Championship, and from Great American Bash, Kendall Gray, Lola Vice for the NXT Women's Championship. Just a really good, fun weekend. I wish TNA just did a little bit better. Stars of the week, we have a lot. El Sky Team for becoming your new Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions. Mercedes Moné and Will Ospreay for winning their respective Owen Cup final matches. Kendall Gray for becoming your new NXT Women's Champion. The Demon X Bunny for becoming your new Knockouts Tag Team Champions. Zaya Brookside for becoming your new Knockouts Champion. The Street Profits for becoming your new World Tag Team Champion. Nikita Lyons, ladies and gentlemen, she is your new Evolve Women's Champion. She's been through a lot. The Hardys for becoming your new TNA Tag Team Champions, and Nick Nemeth for becoming your new TNA World Champion. But that is our show, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. I don't know what we got coming up. I'm gonna figure out the schedule for the month of July, but ladies and gentlemen, that is our show. Check out the socials, Charismatic Creations on Facebook and YouTube, Charismatic_Creations52 on Instagram, and of course the 215 on Twitter. I'll see you when I see you. Peace.